Welcome into the Slobberknocker Sports Podcast, episode 94. We are back. 2 weeks off. Football is back. 4 months off. It was a great weekend. We got to sit around, watch football all day on Saturday, and then we turned around on Sunday and did it all over again. It was a great day in the NFL. Had some fun matchups, some good endings. We kicked it off, obviously, on Thursday with the Cowboys and Eagles. We'll get into that. We'll get into the good, the bad, and the ugly in the NFL. We'll talk some biggest winners, biggest losers, college football, and we'll kind of talk about some of the big games, big matchups coming up next week. We'll just preview a little bit at the end. But, if you're new to the channel, like, subscribe, comment below, all that good stuff. But let's dive into it.
Best time of the year. It even felt pretty good waking up this morning.
Right? It did.
Nice little night. Everything was like, 70 degrees.
Yeah.
Which is fall around here for sure. So
yeah.
Not too bad. It's a great time to be alive right now. I didn't get that drunk this weekend, so I should be ready to go for the show.
I'm glad.
I avoided the Voodoo Rangers this week. I don't even know. Do we have any Voodoo Ranger context from the show? I talked about Voodoo Rangers. Okay.
Yeah. The Voodoo Ranger parlay of the week.
Of course.
It's up there, yeah. And which we hit,
by
the way.
By the way, we did. There you go. That's Voodoo Ranger.
Voodoo Ranger. First time they're a sponsor and we hit it. What do you mean? Come on. What were you going to say?
That's all I got.
Oh.
I couldn't remember how much I went into the Voodoo Ranger anyway, beyond the other story. But we're
because we cut some of the other show out?
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yes.
Anyway, let's dive into it. We're going to start with some clips here, 2-minute drill. We kicked it off, like I mentioned, on Thursday night with the Cowboys Eagles, and we got to just show that basically this is going to be an extended head scratcher of the week. Okay, all of these clips. And we're going to start with our boy Jalen Carter. And obviously this happened, days ago, but if you haven't seen this, Jalen Carter with a nice loogie hacked right on Dak Prescott. We were watching this live. A lot of people were shocked. I wasn't, because this is coming from a guy who, remember, got in a car drunk, driving against his drunk friends, drove them off the road, they crashed and died, and then he drove away from the scene. So not very
allegedly.
Well, no, he was actually convicted of racing and reckless driving. So
I still would have drafted him before. What pick did the Eagles get him?
He was like 17 or 18.
I still would have taken him in the top 5. Like Jerry said, you're not trying to have choir boys here, you're trying to win football games. But yeah, Jalen Carter's a idiot. There's zero doubt about that.
And then he's laughing aft off the field.
He's
smiling.
like, you know what he's like? He's like a full-grown Latarian Milton. You remember Latarian Milton? It's fun to do bad things. Why'd you steal your grandma's car? Because it's fun to do bad things.
I like to do hood rat things with my friends.
I like to do hood rat shit. Stuff with my friends.
That's really what he looks like walking off the field.
He kind of does.
And after the game, he didn't even barely apologize. He really was just like, I feel bad for my teammates and the fans, and I wanted to be out there, but he wasn't like, what I did was wrong. Like, it was like, well, I'm not going to talk about it, And Dak actually took the high road and was like, I don't know.
Well, Dak baited him into it, too. He knew exactly what he was doing. He spit like in his direction.
Okay.
Now listen, they're completely different things.
Yes.
Spitting in someone's direction and spitting on someone are two completely different things. But I do think in the back of Dak's mind, he was like, if I spit anywhere near Jalen Carter, he's probably going to loogie in my face. And it pretty much turned out that way.
Well,
so it worked out for the
Cowboys. If you're dumb enough to see somebody spitting 10 feet away from you and looking at you and think, I'm going to spit on this guy in front of the officials and, a million fans watching, well, you're stupid enough to deserve to be suspended. Did he get suspended for that?
No idea.
I haven't seen anything. I guess he didn't.
Hell of a ball player. Big time. You can beep that.
We're like 2 minutes in. Come on.
The R word's back.
All right. We saw that. Now we're going to move on. We'll probably touch on the good, bad, and the ugly a little bit on the Cowboys-Eagles game. So we'll come back to that in a second. But we're going to go to another head-scratcher here. And that's going to be in the Denver Broncos, Tennessee Titans games. And this was a revolving door of head-scratchers in this game. Okay, so we're going to pick it up here in the first half. Okay, it's a 4th and 2 for the Broncos with 52 seconds to go, and they're going to punt this ball away.
The Titans are actually winning.
They're actually up by 3, and they're going to make a fair catch here right around the 6 or 7 yard line. All right, Cam Ward's going to trot on the field. Now, keep in mind as I pause this, there's 47 seconds to go. The Broncos have 2 timeouts.
Yeah.
You have a rookie quarterback in his first career start against what
on the 7-yard line.
On his own 7-yard line against what many people believe is the best defense in the league, and there's 47 seconds to go in the half.
Yeah.
And the Denver Broncos have 2 timeouts, so all you have to do is take a knee or run the ball 3 times and punt. Yeah. And the half is over, right? Instead, Brian Callahan, Bailey's favorite guy, decides that it's a good idea here. You basically right here, if you do that, you are winning at halftime. You go into the locker room, and the best first quarter team in football last year, the Tennessee Titans, actually would have a lead in the first half going into halftime. Instead, Brian Callahan dials this up on first down, which it should have been a safety because there was a hold in the end zone. Incomplete. Now, all of a sudden, you have to get a first down. Okay? Because if you don't, you're going to have to punt the ball back. So they say, let's throw it again.
Callahan says, fuck it, let's throw it 2 more times,
That's
man.
Right. And the first one was a failed screen pass. And the second one, which was the third throw here, Cam Ward's going to drop back and is about an inch away from getting sacked in the end zone. So instead of a safety, it's going to be about on the half-yard line. He stays out of the end zone because
they would have been better off with the safety.
They would have been better off with the safety because what happens now is the Titans punt from their own half-yard line, and a couple plays later, on 1st and 10 from the 22, Bo Nix is going to find Cortland Sutton here as the tape rolls. Nix going to throw this to the end zone.
What a pump fake. What a player.
Bo was horrible in this game. But Cortland Sutton's going to reel this in for a touchdown. And just like that, instead of having a 3-point lead going into halftime, you're now losing. I believe the Titans actually had a good return and ended up kicking a field goal before halftime, but they still trailed. Anybody who had Broncos money line in the first half, that was a lucky beat. Okay, let's pick this back up. Now, 5:50 to go in the fourth quarter. It's 3rd and 10 for the Broncos. Okay. Bo Nix back to throw here. He's going to fire it over the middle. It's going to be caught by Troy Franklin. And he's going to be just short of the first down. Now, the official's actually going to mark this. Check that. That's actually Cortland Sutton. They're going to mark this as a first down. Callahan challenges the call. He wins. And now it's a 4th and inches. Now, there's 5:18 to go. Okay? The Titans have not scored a touchdown the entire game. They have 4 field goals, and 3 of their field goals came off of 3 Bo Nix turnovers inside of their own territory. So they have not moved the ball well at all this game. And yet, the Broncos right here decide on, with 5:18 to go for it on their own 45-yard line. So Sean Payton dials up this beauty of a play, and they try the Eagles' version of a tush push, and Bo Nix bounces it out and gets stuffed. And now the only way you could possibly lose is if you don't convert there, I would think, and that's exactly what happened. Bo Nix is short there. Titans take over. They end up going 3 and out and punting right back. Now, you're going to see the little measurement here. I want to bring this up just for a second.
So they are doing this?
This is why I showed this. Here's the dumbest part about this. They are using virtual measurements. However, they are spotting, so the officials still spot the ball. And wherever the officials spot the ball, that is the actual mark. All they're doing is, from where they initially spot the ball on first down, they have a camera or a virtual system to know the exact point in which it's a first down. So they have eliminated the need for chains, essentially. That's what they've done, right? So they spotted that ball, and now once it's on the field spotted by the officials, not by a virtual machine, now they just use this for the actual measurement. So we've eliminated measurements. Now, there's still a chain gang for 2 purposes. 1, so there's a backup in case the system malfunctions. 2, so the players have a reference point for where the first down marker actually is. However, what I don't understand is if we're going to use the technology here to spot the ball, and you obviously have an ability to track the ball because they do the same thing in tennis with Hawkeye.
Well, they do the same thing in soccer too. The dilemma is you could always chip the ball. The dilemma is it's like, okay, when is he? Because the other judgment is when is he officially down?
Sure.
So it's like that's the. I still think they should use it. I get it, but it's just not as fail-proof as tennis or soccer, where it's like, hey, did the ball cross the line or did it not cross the line? Right.
Well, here's what I would say. They don't. Do they chip the ball in tennis? Do you know, or is it just a camera system?
No, it's a camera system.
Right. So it's a virtual camera system. Right. So my point being then is, I'm sure there's a way, maybe it would take, maybe the timing is the issue, like doing it quickly. Because I would think that there would be a way, if you're using multiple cameras, to show when something hit the ground, when a knee hit the ground, or where the ball is, right? Like, at least for important spots, right? For a 4th down. Or if we're challenging something, you could use it maybe.
Yeah.
You also, I believe, could use this same system for whether somebody is out of bounds or not, right? You could see, did the guy's foot come down in bounds or not? Like, there's other ways this could be utilized. This seems like the most basic, easy way. Maybe that's what they're doing. They're trying it out like this, and they're going to expand it.
Yeah, we'll see.
But the problem of officials spotting the ball is still a huge issue, so it's not like that's going anywhere.
Right.
Okay, moving on. Still in this game. All right, now it's going to be the next possession for the Broncos. There's 2:58 to go. It's 3rd and 10, okay? And Bo Nix is going to throw a screen pass here. That time, it is the Troy Franklin. He's going to be short, but Colin Simmons brilliantly is going to hit him after the play. Would have been a punt. Titans are going to get the ball back. Instead, it's a 15-yard penalty. Puts the Broncos in field goal range, and it gives them a first down. So now we fast forward to 3rd and 5 on the next series. Okay? 3rd and 5 here for Bo Nix. He's under center. They're going to run the ball to J.K. Dobbins. He gets hit in the backfield. Now you have a decision, okay? Titans have no timeout, so the clock runs down to 1:05 roughly, okay? And
my decision, like you talked about earlier, is punt the ball. They haven't scored a touchdown all day. There's a minute 5. I know you wanted them to cover the spread, kick the field goal.
Wanted them to kick the field
goal. but you definitely punt. The Titans haven't scored a touchdown all day. This was absolutely bizarro land right here, this play call.
Yeah, and so 4th and 8. And we're thinking at this point, they're just going to get them to try to jump off sides. They're not going to do it. They're going to punt, right? That's what we're thinking because they had just called a timeout. You can't call 2 consecutive timeouts.
I said, they're going to try to get them to jump, and then they'll kick a field goal, or they'll take it to late game and punt. Yeah.
Right. And so right here, 4th and 8, Bo Nix goes up to the line and snaps the ball and then chunks a pass 40 yards downfield.
Jackpot, bitches.
Jackpot.
He was going for the cover.
That was uncatchable. Well, if he was going for the cover, he's an idiot because on this replay, what's actually funny about this,
wide open.
What's funny about this is he threw to the wrong guy. Like,
right.
This is how bad Bo Nix really is. If you look at this replay, like anyone could have thrown. Like I could have made this throw. All right, when you stop it, freeze it right here. I mean, the guy's unguarded. Even right here. I mean, if he's looking in the, I don't know how you don't. This just shows you that he predetermines what he does with every throw. Like, look at this. They're in the same spot. If you're reading that guy, there's no one there.
Right.
I mean, like if he jackpots, that's a cover. That's a touchdown and a cover, by the way. If he just throws that. Regardless, Bo Nix throws an incompletion. Now the Titans end up going 4 and out because Calvin Ridley was on the take again and they're dropping balls left and right.
But yeah, the weirdest, that was a super, Sean Payton always does weird dumb things thinking he's smart. The Callahan deal though.
It's just a bunch of head scratching.
Callahan's a dipshit.
No, he is a dipshit.
I mean, like just anybody at their house sitting there watching football knows you just take a knee, or you can listen if you want to run it one time and see if you get 20 yards, sure. And then if you don't, you just take a knee 2 times, you go to the half. You're not trying to score points as a Tennessee Titans with a rookie quarterback against arguably the best defense in the league. It's very, very.
I don't even think you throw, like, I wouldn't even risk throwing a running back screen.
No,
I would just run the ball 3 times.
Ball.
If you break one for a first down, now you have complete control of the clock. And if you want to maybe take a shot at that point. Okay, move on to the last thing because this is going to bring us to the game last night, which I think is where we'll start kind of, and then we'll transition to good, bad, and the ugly. Yeah, this was the game of the week. It was the best matchup. It was Sunday Night Football. We had the Bills and the Ravens, rematch of the divisional AFC playoffs last year where the Bills nudged out the Ravens, and in that game, I believe the Bills were the better team. Last night, they were not the better team. The Ravens were the better team. If you were on the Ravens, like myself, I feel bad for you because that was one of the worst beats I've seen in the NFL in a long time. They led by 15 with 4:48 to go. They actually had the ball up 15 with 7 minutes to go and could have ended the game. They had the ball. They trailed by 15 with 4:48 to go, had a 99.1% chance to win the game. I'm going to flash that graphic right here. And they end up somehow, some way, blowing this, and it becomes a 2-point game because the Bills scored. They cut it to 8. Again, if the Ravens at that point in the game, if the Ravens run the ball 3 times and punt, the Bills will use all 3 timeouts because there was like 3:30 to go, and the game is probably over right there. Worst case scenario, the Bills go down, score a touchdown, get the 2, and now you have a chance to go win the game in a tie game. That's worst case scenario if you run the ball 3 times. Instead, they run the ball. Derrick Henry, to his credit, he was incredible in that game. He was 19 touches, and I think he had 181 yards from scrimmage and 2 touchdowns, but he did what he never does. He fumbled, and that changed everything right there. The fumble led to a quick Buffalo touchdown. The Ravens were able to get a stop on the 2-point conversion, so it was 40-38. Ravens get the ball. That's where we pick it up here. It's 40-38. Ravens have a 3rd down and 9, okay? So here's the play that the Ravens run on 3rd and 9. Lamar Jackson going to throw it over the middle to DeAndre Hopkins. He's tackled about 2.5 to 3 yards shy of the marker. They mark it about 3 yards short. Now, what ends up happening here, I wanted to show that play because this is what, if anybody watched the game, you know what happened. They punted the ball here on 4th down. The Bills got it with 1:30 to go, needing only a field goal, and it took Josh Allen like 4 plays to get in field goal range.
Yep.
They got it down to the 10-yard line, took 3 knees, and kicked the field goal and won the game by 1. They stole the game is what happened. Okay, Ravens were the right side. They were the better team all game. They choked it away.
That's what you get for going against a great white hope.
Well, this is the thing. And Josh Allen was tremendous late in the game, and I love Josh Allen. He deserved the MVP last year. I think he's the best player in football right now. I think he has been for the last couple seasons. Like you could say Mahomes in the playoffs, but I think Allen in the playoffs has been just as good. His team has just let him down.
Right.
But here's the thing. The Ravens had a 99.1% chance to win this game with 5 minutes to go. They lost it. The Ravens have now lost 8 games since the 2021 season in which they at one point had at least a 90% probability or higher to win the football game. That is 3 more than the next closest team in that span. And all 8 games have come with Lamar Jackson at quarterback and John Harbaugh at head coach. That's a problem. And that's where I want to start with this as we talk about this game. And I want to go back. It's why I showed that play. I want to go back to that decision. This is my problem with John Harbaugh. Okay, this is a team that is elite talent-wise, although the defense looked shitty last night. You have a quarterback who...
I think that just shows, and get in your point, but I think that just shows these days in the NFL, like the Ravens, when you look at it on paper, are talented defense. It's just these days with the rules and not being able to touch anybody, good offense beats good defense any day of the week. It just doesn't matter.
100%.
Like if you have a good quarterback anyway.
100%.
If you have one of the top 5 quarterbacks, doesn't matter how good your defense is. That if they're playing well and they're on their game, they're going to score points on you.
Absolutely. And I think most of the games yesterday probably went, I don't know this, but I would think they were unders. It was a lower scoring day, but the elite offenses killed the elite defenses. That's just what happened. And I wouldn't say this Ravens defense is elite, but they're good. But that Bills offense was elite last night.
Right.
Same thing, vice versa. Like I don't think the Bills are a bad defense, but they're decent. But it was a great Ravens offense. Now, here's my issue, and people might disagree with this, but this is I am 100% in on what I'm about to say. It's 4th and 3. Okay, it's 4th and 3. There is a minute 30 to go, right? Around that, minute 30 to go.
I think so, yeah.
Bills are out of timeouts. They've used all 3 timeouts, okay? If I'm John Harbaugh, if I'm an NFL coach, I go for that 100 out of 100 times in this specific game,
right?
Okay,
right.
In this specific game. Here's the reason why, okay? And here's why it is baffling to me that he punted, and he didn't even hesitate. The punting team came right on the field. Lamar Jackson didn't even ask to go for it. I was shocked.
He goes for a lot of stuff too.
He
typically
does. And this is what happens. He changes what he does late in games. He gets ultra conservative. It makes no sense. If you punt the ball back to Josh Allen with a minute 30 to go in the NFL, needing only a field goal to not tie to win. If you were up 3 there, then I could understand punting it, right? But up 2 or 1 where a field goal legitimately beats you. Okay, you have your defense. Your defense has given up 38 points to this point in the game. 38 points. There is a 100% chance he's going to get them in field goal range. 100%. He will get them in field goal range. If you pulled every single person on that Bills sideline, from the head coach to the ball boy, 100% of those people would say, if you ask them, would you rather Lamar Jackson have 1 play to get a first down on 4th and 3, or would you rather take the ball on a punt, have to go 50 yards and get in field goal range? Every single person on the Bills, in the Bills organization, would say, we want them to punt and take the ball. You do what the opposing coach and opposing team doesn't want you to do. What would they rather you do there? Everybody would rather you punt. If you put the ball in Lamar Jackson's hands on 4th and 3, I would say legitimately with the run-pass option, 75% chance that you get it, right? And here's the thing. If you don't get it, you had all 3 timeouts left. And so now, I believe it was like the 37-yard line, own 37. If you don't get it, the Bills are only playing for a field goal at that point to win the game, and you have all 3 timeouts and have a chance to get the ball back. If you kick it, it's going to take them a minute to go down the field. And so what actually happened is they got in field goal range and just took 3 knees. And by the way, the last play, the Ravens cornerback, if he had any brain at all, should have let the Bills receiver score. The guy was trying to score. I don't remember if it was Shakir or who it was. He's trying to score, and he grabs him by shoelace, tackles him. That ended the game right there. If he scored, there was about a minute to go, and the Ravens had all 3 timeouts. They would have had a chance to go score the other way. I mean, there was just bad decision after bad decision. I think this is what I'll say this, and you tell me your take on the game. I believe that this relationship or this combination, moreover, and I'm not blaming Lamar Jackson for last night. He wasn't great, but he was good. I think he had like 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. He ran well. He had 70 yards and a touchdown. Derrick Henry was their best player. I think I think it's a failure. I think this is clearly a failure. I think Lamar Jackson and John Harbaugh will never win a Super Bowl. They will never get out of the AFC. And I believe that in 2 to 3 years, John Harbaugh will be out of there, and Lamar will either want to move on from taking so much heat, or he'll have another coach and it won't work out with that guy and he'll end up being like an Aaron Rodgers late in his career and trading out around to a couple different teams. I don't know how many more years Lamar has left because his athleticism is his only thing, right? Like, if you take away his athleticism, he's a subpar NFL quarterback. Gotten much better as a passer. Not saying he hasn't. He's one of the best in the league, but this can't keep happening. I mean, this is ridiculous. You have to be able to get a first down to end the game when you've got 40 points. You scored 41 points in this game. You have to be able to get a first down. Like, that's ridiculous that you cannot get a first down. Put the ball in your hands twice and you could not do it. And
I would say that it seems that he always gets more conservative at the end of the game. I saw him in a game last year as a playoff game. I think it was him, went for it like in the first half on his own, like 22.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's like 4th and 1, and there was like a minute left in the half. I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? They got it, and they went down and scored a touchdown.
It was a Mark Andrews sneak. I know the play you're talking about.
It was a Mark Andrews sneak. Yeah, so he does a bunch of weird things. That one last night, I would have gone for it, and your thought process is exactly right. I would have gone for it there in that situation. You punt the ball back to Josh Allen, you more than likely lose, especially with 3 timeouts. Like, hey, they're going to run it, probably, whatever. Maybe they kick a field goal, we get the ball back. More than likely, you get it anyway. You know, you want the ball in the best player's hands on your team, and that would be Henry or Jackson. Trying to get a first down and win the game. You don't punt it and put it in your defense's hands who've given up a ton of points. It was, even when I saw it live, I was like, man, I thought he was going to go for it. And then they said 4th and 3, and I was like, I would still go for it, but I have a feeling he's going to punt. Like, once you get past 2 yards in the NFL, that seems like they'll always go there. 3 yards, I don't know what it is with coaches, but they punt in that situation. I wouldn't have punted. I would have gone for it. Like you said, you're playing for a field goal.
You think they say go for
it? The analytics say go.
Anything under 4 would probably be a go.
Well, the analytics may say punt in that situation with no timeouts, but the analytics don't take into account what's been going on in that game. It's just data from all kinds of games prior and typically what works better, you know. It's a math problem. But when you're watching that game and your defense hasn't gotten a stop 4 times in a row, right? It's not like, hey, this is
pretty simple.
I think you go. I disagree in the sense that I think Harbaugh will be there another fucking 20 years because I just think that's what's going to happen in Baltimore. Will they ever go to a Super Bowl? Maybe. I don't know. The only thing I'll say is I think the defense is going to get better, and you would think in the next 3 years, Lamar will play a game where, you know, there isn't a fluky turnover, or maybe he doesn't turn over the ball. Like, I just think that it eventually will happen. Now, will they be able to win the Super Bowl? Who knows? But you're right. On paper, they're the most talented team in the AFC for sure. They haven't been able to get over the hump. So for Ravens fans, I'm sure it's frustrating. But I mean, it's a regular season game. It's week 1. It was a very important game, right? This could end up determining who gets home field advantage later on in the season. I'm with you. You can't blow the game. I would go for it in that situation with everything, you know, with what we saw in the game. Lamar was pretty good. Henry was good. I think the Ravens are going to be just fine. I mean, you know, by the end of it, I think they'll probably lose like maybe 3 more games. I mean, I think they'll handle all the teams they're supposed to handle. They might lose. I haven't looked at their schedule, but I would assume they're going to be right there for the number 1 seed. But Buffalo winning this game, I would say Buffalo gets it. I would say they're going to end up being the 2. And, you know, you'll have the Chiefs at like the 3 or the 4, depending on. Obviously, the Chargers got that big win over them, so that helps. Yeah,
big win.
We'll get into that. But, yeah, I mean,
by the way,
I don't know. I'm with you. I agree with pretty much all the points you're making to go, like, game and situation. You just go for it and try to win the game.
It was a go. Analytics said Ben Baldwin's model is like the most commonly used one, and the 4th and 3 on 30 at that point, it was a go.
Yeah, 4th and 4 is probably not a go. Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
It usually flashes up and says 4th and anything less than this is a go, and I think it's usually 4 is a number that they go land on.
So,
but I mean, to me, it's just like you, and we'll move on. But like the point you made, it's just about your eyes, right? Like, what have I seen in this game, and who am I playing against, right? If that quarterback is, Kyler Murray, right? If that quarterback is Kyler Murray, you punt the ball there, right? And even then, like, I wouldn't blame somebody for going for it if they did. But I think, like, knowing it's Josh Allen at home.
Right.
And they just scored. I think they just scored 2 touchdowns in the last 3 minutes.
All the momentum's gone. You just go for it. You say, hey, I'm on the road. I have 3 yards to win the game at this point.
You think?
I can still. There's still other ways for me to win if I don't get it. But like, do I want to punt and take the ball out of my best player's hands? I don't.
You think the fact that they've blown so many fourth quarter leads like this in the last couple of years played into his decision to punt there and to not put it on one call where then if he doesn't get it, everybody's like, why would you go for that?
Maybe a little bit. I think that he's like you said, he does some weird things going for some spots where I'm like, why would he go for that?
Right.
And then he didn't go for this one. Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a choke. A bit of a choke. I think if you ask him today, I'm curious, with people, obviously you can always second guess yourself. It didn't work out. But I think if you ask people, you asked him today if he could take 2 minutes to think about it, he'd be like, yeah, I should have gone for it.
Yeah,
like,
probably.
Even if I didn't get it, I should have gone for it. And here's why. So, who knows? We can move on, but yeah, for me, I go for it. I think I think we're both on the same page there.
Let's go to the good, bad, and the ugly of the first week of the NFL. I'll let you start if you want.
Okay, my first good in the NFL this week. Let me pull up my notes. I don't remember who I started.
I love
with.
that you have notes. Look at this guy preparing.
The good, the bad. Yeah,
How about
dude,
that, Bailey?
Yeah, folks at home, this may be the first time I've prepared for this show. The good, Danny Dimes and the Colts. How about Danny Dimes? And you know what? I will say this. Everybody's always put Danny Dimes down for years. My uncle, who's a Giants fan, he's the worst ever, calls him Danny Nichols. I said, that team's just dog shit up in New York. And Dimes goes to the Colts. And given, I think I was more down than anybody on the Dolphins when we picked that deal. I think I had them winning 5 games. I think that's looking pretty good. It maybe even less than that. I think the Mike McDaniel era is over there. I think the Tua experiment's over there.
I'm getting to them in the ugly. That was ugly.
Yeah, and I have them listed on my ugly as well.
Hard to avoid that one.
Yeah, but Danny Dimes and the Colts look good. How about, and like Big Cat said, the Jim Irsay Memorial Game was the easiest winner of all time. Obviously, Jim died in the offseason. How about his daughter on the sideline with the earpiece in the call sheet?
Stop.
Did you know? No. Look it up. Search Jim Irsay's daughter sidelines. She's got an earpiece in, and I forgot. I took a screenshot of what she said. No, but she's ownership now. She's like the woman Jerry Jones down on the sidelines.
Dude, they're about to win a Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, she's gonna do it.
Holy shit!
We know how ownership and women turn out. Tennessee Titans.
By the way, the hypothesis of the Panthers,
Pelicans, Saints. Jesus.
The hypothesis of the Saints. I'm sorry, not the Saints. Of the Panthers. A year after, what was the hypothesis? A year after they lose,
Ohio State wins.
They go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's dead this year. Let me tell you that. Like there was maybe like a 0.5% chance before week 1. Watching them lose to the Jaguars by 16, that is a 0%. There's a better chance of an alien
I'll go to my
showing
second
up here.
good. I don't think it's going to be yours, and you can go with your goods. He's a bad man. Aaron Rodgers, 4 touchdowns, baby, against his.
Got handed the last one, but yeah.
Please. Okay. Aaron was playing great ball. And his presser, obviously, always standoffish and said he just wanted to come here and show him I could still play after Aaron Glenn told him he wasn't the right man for the job or something like that. And he was like, was it personal? He's like, oh, yeah, it was absolutely personal. Just classic Rodgers. But he played pretty well. The offense was I mean, what a weird game. What'd you say the total was? Like 39 or something?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I mean, there was 70 points
Yeah,
scored.
yeah.
So I mean, that's why you don't gamble right there, and that's the NFL. You just never know. But yeah. Anyway, Aaron Rodgers looked good. Steelers defense did not.
I was surprised.
Mike Tomlin pretty much just puts a stamp on it. Will win 9 games.
Watching that team and how bad I think the Jets are going to be. Barely winning that game. No, I actually think they're going to win 6 games this year.
Jets are going to win 8 games.
Oh, no, they're not.
Fields looked terrific.
No, he didn't look terrific. He looked good. Terrific. He looked better. Okay, I'm going to go for a good here. I'm going to go to the Packers defense. Specifically, they traded for Micah Parsons, and Micah Parsons was phenomenal yesterday. Shocker. But, look, they played the Lions yesterday. and held the Lions to 13 total points. They had 6 points through the first 57 minutes. They scored one garbage time touchdown, and it was actually maybe the best catch we will see all year. It was an incredible one-handed toe-tapping grab in the back of the end zone that had to be reviewed and held up. But overall, the Lions, as a team, ran 65 plays for 246 yards, 3.8 yards per play. Only 16 first downs. They're 5 of 15 on third down, 4.7 yards per pass, 2.1 yards per rush. They were phenomenal. Oh, and they held them to 1 for 4 in the red zone. So, look, obviously Jerry Jones is an idiot, but you got to give credit to the Packers ownership for making this move, right? Management.
Apparently they tried to get Hendrickson before.
Yeah, they are an organization that says we're going to try to win when we have, if we have pieces to win on offense, okay, well, let's go get defense so we can try to win a Super Bowl. And they have done that with their last 2 franchise quarterbacks. Brett Favre comes in, they build around him, they win a Super Bowl. And Aaron Rodgers come in, they build around him, they win a Super Bowl. Now, do I think Jordan Love's a Super Bowl winning quarterback? No. But I do think this Packers team is a contender because that defense was impressive yesterday. I mean, the Lions were the best offense in football last year, right? And I do understand that you lose Ben Johnson. That's a big loss. But they basically returned the whole team, right? I think they lost, they have one offensive lineman who's hurt right now.
For the most part. One offensive, I think their center retired. I think there's another guy hurt. But yeah.
They were literally the most explosive offense in the league last year, and you hold them to essentially 6 points the entirety of the game. And they were phenomenal. I was
you look
very
at
pleased
Goff's
with the defense.
stats because it was funny. I was going to put him in the bad or ugly, but his stats were not bad.
No, he wasn't horrible.
He probably took
check down Charlie.
12 sacks. I mean, I don't know what it was, but it's I was watching the game and just, at least in the second half, it seemed like every time he
4
dropped
sacks
back,
for negative 25 yards.
It must have been all in the second half because I saw every single one of them.
Well, and he also threw it 39 times in the game for 225 yards.
Right.
I mean, he could not. Everything was a check down, right? And he still threw a pick. He did not play well. His numbers weren't that bad, but he didn't play very good. What was his QBR? 52.9,
Yeah.
All right. Going on to my next good, I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Rams. Specifically Matthew Stafford yesterday. He hadn't really practiced the entire offseason, right? The entire training camp. He comes in yesterday, basically cold off the bench. He's 37 years old. He's had shoulder issues left and right. He's playing against what I think we believe is going to be a pretty damn good defense with the Texans. They were good yesterday. And I'm not saying he exploded, but he was 21 of 29 for 245 yards, 8.5 yards per pass, and a touchdown. And that's also, keep in mind, with no Cooper Kupp anymore, right? Now, I know they got Devontae Adams, but he's older, and they still have Puka Nacua, who, by the way, had 10 catches for 130 yards yesterday. But Stafford was great in this game, and it was a nice win for the Rams. The Rams have tended to start slow the last couple years. I don't have numbers specifically for the first game, but I know they have started slow, and he completely outplayed young C.J. Stroud, who everybody's super high on, except for me.
I'm starting to have questions. He doesn't look
he
great.
did not look good.
Doesn't look great.
Okay.
Moving into the bads here. It was a good bad, but it's just the Browns doing everything they fucking can to lose the game. I mean, missed an extra point, I believe, right? And then missed 2 field goals as well. The kid was, they're going to run him out of Cleveland quick, whoever it is. I think it's a rookie. I didn't recognize his name.
Poor guy.
But yeah, Joe Flacco and the boys did everything they could to win that game. Should have won that game. The Bengals always start slow. I believe the stat I heard, it was on a podcast, they were talking about Joe Burrow's through 5 years, his first 2 games. You know what his record is? 1-9.
Now, this was the first win. He's had
No. Well, second. He was
1-9 going into that. Yeah.
So won the game. They just always start slow. So good for the Bengals finding a way to win, I guess. But, it's kind of the same old story with them starting very, very slow. The Browns absolutely should have won that football game. I believe the Browns held them to 13 yards or something like that in the second half. I saw a stat. It was 13 yards they had in the second half. Still lost the game.
Dude, I'm looking at the box score right now. The way we watch the games for everybody home, I'll put a picture up on the screen. Yeah. We've got every
There's so
game
many things going on, yeah.
We got 4. We got the 85-inch in the middle. So we got the 4 games there, the multi-screen. We got 4 screens on the side. So we got every game on. So there's a lot of things going on when we're watching the games. And so I didn't really pay too much attention to this. I was kind of checking the score, and I watched the last couple drives. I had no idea. This is the most atrocious box score. If you had the Browns money line, God bless you.
Oh, yeah,
That's brutal. The Browns outgained them 327 to 141.
Yeah.
They had 141 yards in the entirety of the game. I mean,
in the second half, I believe it was like teens. It was like 15 or 16.
Yeah, I don't even know how the Bengals scored in the second half. They had 3 points. Must have been off a turnover. Burrow was 14 of 23 for 113 yards. Chase Brown had 21 carries for 43 yards. I mean, This was one of the worst offensive performances I've ever seen. That reminded me of like the Bears' performance in Week 1 last year and Caleb Williams' first start.
And the Browns just found a way to lose. It's what they do as a franchise. They played a pretty good game. That's why I said it was kind of good and bad. It's like, looking at it long term, they played a really good football game. And
yeah, they did.
I think I had them, and when we were doing the records, I think I had them going like 5. Like, the defense is pretty good, and I think Flacco's good enough to just manage a team to win some games. But losing that one hurt real bad. And the other bad I had was, of course, Sussy Russie and the Giants. They got to get Sussy Russie out of there. 17-37. Same old Giants. No touchdown scored in the game. They didn't score a touchdown. I don't know what the hell they're doing. They should have ran Dable out of town in that GM a couple years ago. They're still hanging around. Dable's waiting to start Dart. He's going to wait for them to go 0-6. Dart's going to come in and look good, and he's going to be like, "Oh, you got to let me keep my job."
Dude, so early on when we were talking about this, you posed that possibility that Daboll was going to start Russell Wilson. That way, if Russell Wilson plays well, then he's going to save his job. But if he doesn't, he can 5 or 6 games in say, well, we're going to try Dart, and then now he's got a second chance because if Dart looks good, the record doesn't matter, and he's like, well, I'm developing him. I'm going to have one more year. And I thought that was a great point when you said it at the time. Watching the game yesterday, Russell Wilson is so bad that he doesn't have 4 or 5 games to go to Jackson Dart. He has to do it right now because I'm telling you this right now. If they don't start Jackson Dart, and I'm not saying that Jackson Dart is is Patrick Mahomes, I'm not saying he's a second coming of Mahomes, right? No. But he is significantly better than Russell Wilson because I think Russell Wilson might be the worst quarterback in the league right now.
Oh no, sorry, I forgot what they were going to do. When I was talking about it, no, they're going to go Russell 3 to 4 games, then Jameis 3 to 4 games, and then
I don't remember you saying that.
Oh, well, maybe that's what I was thinking in my head. I forgot they had Jameis,
but Jameis got beat out for the second string. They made Jackson Dart the second string.
I don't know. I think you might see Jameis.
But here's the problem.
Oh, I know what's going to happen.
They're going to start him to the Saints game.
Yeah, they're going to wait for him to get through the Cowboys, the Chiefs, and the Chargers. You start him in the Saints game.
I mean, but dude, here's the problem though. You start him in the Saints game, then you go Eagles, Broncos,
they play a tough
Eagles,
schedule.
Niners, Bears, Packers, Lions.
How many games did your dad say they were going to win?
Dude,
8?
Yeah, dude, they're gonna win
no way.
They might win 3.
That's a tough schedule. I didn't realize your schedule was that tough.
No, it's brutal. I mean, it's brutal. Right. No, Russell Wilson was one of the worst things I saw this weekend. Right. What was the final score? 21-6. Jaden Daniels didn't even play that good. The Commanders didn't even play that good, and they still won and easily covered the number.
Yep.
So, 432 to 231 total yards, 3.7 yards per play for the Giants. Okay. So I had Ravens collapse and Giants offensive woes. So we'll skip Ravens right now. Do you have Dolphins in the ugly?
Yeah, I both have Dolphins in the ugly.
Let's just go to the ugly. So I'll start with the Dolphins here.
Yeah.
Look, that was the worst performance from a team that I have seen in Week 1 since the Broncos in Sean Payton's first game lost they gave up 70 points to Mike McDaniel's Dolphins. It was Week 1 or right? I believe it was
week 1 or 2. Yeah,
Week 1 or 2. That's what this reminded me of. It was guys just quitting on the field. There's an inherent issue with the culture in that locker room. We've said this. We said this back when we started the podcast and we were in the back house, and they were hot at the time, and both of us said this that Mike McDaniel's a smart guy and he's a good play caller, but the offense was gimmicky and he's not a leader of men, and that has clearly come to fruition the last 2 seasons since that hot start. I mean, that was one of the most disgusting displays of football I've ever seen. It was legitimately hard to watch. You had Daniel fucking Jones, right? He's
put some respect on his name.
13-29 as a starter. Okay? The Colts, who had, I believe, were 1-14 in openers the last 15 years. They had one win in an opening game the last 15 years. And I believe it was against the Raiders with Andrew Luck. And they go in there, and it's, what was it, 33-0 at one point? 33-0?
Something like that.
I mean, and Mike McDaniel has to know that this is, like, no one is playing for him. You have, nothing's changed.
Yeah, that whole team's going to quit. Tyreek.
Right. Offensively, you have Tua, who I think is terrible. You have Tyreek Hill. You have Jalen Waddle. You have all these weapons. How do you put up? You have A-Chain who's healthy. How do you put up 7 points? How do you put up 7 points? I mean, that is one of the more pathetic things I've seen in a long time. It was hard to watch.
Not great. Not great at all.
What do you have another ugly?
And then my other ugly, which is probably going to be the same, is Bo Nix and the Broncos offense. Pretty terrible.
Disgusting.
Yeah, he played terrible. The Titans defense, give them some credit. They're going to be a good defense this year. Bailey's fist pumping over there, good defense. But yeah, I mean, Bo was in his normal season form. Obviously, he started playing better towards the end of the year last year. We'll see if he can get back to that point. But it was a slow start for Bo and the boys.
Yeah, he had.
But like, if they're playing anybody else in that game, probably, not Cam Ward in his first start, they probably win that game.
Oh, you mean they probably lose that game?
Probably lose the game. Yeah.
No, they did.
They ended up winning the game, but probably lose it.
Last ugly for me. I'm gonna go with CeeDee Lamb, and you could have thrown this in bad or ugly, but it was. I kind of feel like ugly for me is hard to watch, and that's what it was. CeeDee Lamb had 3 enormous drops on Thursday Night Football, capped by a 4th one that, to his credit on that one, or in his defense on that one, it was a hard catch, but when you're being paid the money that he's being paid, you're kind of expected to make that type of catch.
Right.
And especially if you've already dropped a bunch of key balls.
He had a horrible one before that, right?
The one before that likely wins the game for the Cowboys.
Right.
He might have walked into the end zone.
Yep.
And this is the thing. You have guys like CeeDee Lamb. He had 7 receptions for 110 yards, right? Like, he is a phenomenal route runner. He is hard to guard. He's a top 5 receiver in the NFL. You just cannot do that. Yep. And that is a game that for Dallas, if you're wanting to make the playoffs, you have to win. That game was there for the taking. Jalen Carter got kicked out the first play. That was a huge benefit. Your offense was playing well. Your defense gave you a chance. Like, Philly could not be stopped in the first half. And then they scored 3 points the entirety of the second half. The defense actually played really well against an offense that, had been pretty much unstoppable for the majority of the game. And your defense put you in plenty of positions to win. And you look at the numbers here. Like, Dak was 21-34 for 188 yards. And if you factor in the drops, he would have been a heck of a lot better. The defense played solid. Javonte Williams ran well. You had 2 issues with that game. Number 1 was, for some reason, running Miles Sanders he fumbled as they were going in to score. That was a huge momentum shift. But number 2 was CeeDee Lamb. That was it. There's no other explanation for why the Cowboys lost this game. Like, if CeeDee Lamb, I'll put it this way. Even if take away the last one, take away the 4th one, if CeeDee Lamb catches those other 3 balls, which were just hit him in the hands, unguarded, untouched, the Cowboys win the game.
Right.
If they catches those 3 balls, the Cowboys win the game.
And like I told you, Dak Prescott needs to have that saved on his little Surface Pro pad over there of him dropping the fucking ball. So when CD starts being a diva and crying and saying, Dak's so bad, he just runs the tape back and say, like, you remember this week 1? You cost us the game, bitch. He said, I'm so tired of those diva receivers. Be more like Justin Jefferson, okay?
He's the best.
Well, and you might see him lose his mind. We'll see how McCarthy is.
Well, he
doesn't come off as that kind of guy.
No, he really doesn't.
But when things get those receivers all kind of when things get tough, they start losing their mind. But yeah, CD is the worst. AJ Brown's the worst. CD's a close second.
I actually would have put AJ Brown is the worst. I actually would have put Dak in the good.
No, Dak was good.
Like, Dak
he was
actually,
good.
Dak played really well.
He only made one bad throw where his arm got hit and the ball should have been picked.
Yes.
Then after that, he threw a strike. Yeah,
right.
He was very good.
He also had one dropped by Jake Ferguson in the end zone. That was a touchdown.
Correct. He took a pretty big hit, but it was a good throw.
He dropped it before the hit, though.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
And then the one on the sideline too. I almost throw that out too because it was in a time of the game where, like, if you take a sack, the game's probably over.
Right.
So he's just like getting rid of it, hoping for something good to happen. And he was in the pocket, so it was one of those deals where he kind of had try to make something happen. But for the most part, he was really good. Is he worth $60 million? No, but he was really good.
And I hope that I think I'll put it this way too. If Dak plays like that the whole season, Dallas will go over their win total, which was 7.5.
Yeah, they'll win.
Dallas will make the playoffs.
They'll win 8 games. Yeah.
I think Dallas will win 9 games and get in a wild card spot if Dak plays that well all year. Now, is he going to be that consistent all year? Unlikely. But
Right.
he looked. That was the best I've seen him look in the last couple seasons.
Yep.
He was awesome in that
I
game,
agree.
and his numbers don't show it. Like if you look at the box score, you wouldn't have an idea how good he played.
Yeah, I thought he was pretty good.
Okay. Anything else while we move on? When we move on from the NFL, anything else you want to talk about NFL wise?
Yeah, I say move over to college.
Okay, let's go to college. Let me start before we
ahead.
go. Biggest winners and losers. I forgot to do my Brookie of the week, and I don't know if you have one. If you don't, it's fine. But it's a college football player, so I'm going to talk about him real quick.
Go ahead.
Rookie of the week. By the way,
I know who he's going to give it to.
got a new dog named Archie after Archie Manning. But we're going to keep, don't worry, we're going to keep the award to Brooklyn because she's still the grittiest dog, even though I love Archie more. But
first of all, that is blasphemous.
It is
You've
great.
known him one day, and Brooklyn's been around like 15
she's
years.
a little rat. But the thing is, that it is funny on a Sunday when Turner comes in and Brooklyn sprints around the room and jumps over. It's like her favorite person. She comes and sits with Turner for like 10 minutes, right? Every start of every Sunday. It's good to watch. Wait, do you
Two
actually
of the
know?
toughest fucking people on earth.
Yeah, okay. Do you actually know where I'm going with this?
Yeah, it's Diego Pavia.
No. But I am.
good.
He's in my biggest winners. Don't
Fuck
worry.
Diego.
No, Diego was great, but no, I actually am going to go to a local kid who was from San Antonio, Texas. Although he played football at Northeast High School, which I've never heard of, in Austin. I'm going to actually go with Brad Jackson, the quarterback of Texas State. And I don't know if you watched this game. I actually gave it out as a best bet. There were 2 points scored in the first quarter, and then it basically went over in the third quarter.
All hell broke loose.
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean that's what I thought was going to happen the whole game. I don't know. I didn't watch the first quarter.
I think there were
so
62 points in
the second and third
two
quarter
quarters.
combined.
Yeah.
Yes, there was.
Yeah.
It ended up with the final score ended up 79 points. I believe it was 43 to 36. And it was actually an awesome, fun game to watch. But listen, I don't know if you've ever seen this kid play. If you didn't watch this game, you probably haven't because he's a redshirt freshman.
Uh-huh.
He was, I think he played last year and like got in a few games, but he's a white kid, and I'll throw him up on the screen here if I can. He's a white kid. Dude, he is the second coming of Johnny Manziel. I wish I had a highlight.
He can scoot.
He can scoot. I mean, this guy is a baller. Look at him too. This is him. Look, he's got a mustache, little white kid.
Where is he from?
It says San Antonio, so he's born in San Antonio. He's 6 feet tall, 200 pounds, little white kid. He runs around like Manziel, and he's got a fucking cannon. And he lit up, and I mean lit up UTSA's defense. 43 points. I mean, you look at the numbers here in the first 2 weeks. He's got 500 yards passing, okay, 82 yards rushing, 7 total touchdowns, and I mean, just slinging it all over the field. I'm telling you, this guy, he will end up at a big school next year. He will. And what's his, G.J. Kinney, the coach for Texas State, heck of a job, too. He deserves half of a Brookie, too, because they're 2-0. They went down I-35 in the I-35 showdown, rolled into the Alamo Dome, and beat a pretty solid UTSA team by outscoring them. Texas State's going to be a force in the Sun Belt this year. They're actually really good, and I think G.J. Kinney's going to get hired by a big program after this season. But that's my Brookie of the week, Brad Jackson. If you're not familiar with him, tune in and watch him. Usually Texas State plays on ESPN Plus, so if you have ESPN Plus, you can get him watch.
Sun Belt,
I'm telling you, he's worth a watch. If you're a Johnny Manziel fan or you like exciting player, that's your guy. He is fun to watch. All right,
have to check him out.
Let's go to our biggest winners and biggest losers in college football.
Okay.
Okay.
You want to start or you want to start?
No, let me start because
go ahead.
Let me start because I have to go here, and you deserve this one. Okay, let's start with biggest winners, and I want to say sincerely, deep down from the bottom of my heart,
you can't say this. Bailey's our
you sincerely, Vandy Nation.
No, Bailey, tell him that's not allowed.
You sincerely, Vandy Nation.
That's not the Clarkley way.
Fight Vandy Nation. Turner sat on this show and he shit on Virginia Tech, and he said, "No, we need to take Oklahoma money line," which to his credit they won. But we would have paid out a little bit better if we'd have taken Vandy on the money line at plus 110 because they were a disrespected 2-point underdog against 0-1 Virginia Tech. And by the way, my bet your baby bet of the year, my lock of the century was what, Turner? Vanderbilt over 4.5 wins. We're 2 wins, 2 games in, and we got 2 wins. We're 3 games away.
If you had more confidence in him, you'd have taken 5.5 and paid the, you You would have gotten plus money.
I couldn't do that on my book.
Minus 200.
I couldn't do that on my book. I would have been happy to do that. Well, I put $200 on it, okay? That's a lot of money there. Vanderbilt will go over 4.5 wins. They're going bowling. They're going to be a contender here in the SEC. Diego Pavia balled. They almost doubled Virginia Tech in yards. Absolutely dominated. Vanderbilt is one of the biggest winners. They've looked good. They deserve to be ranked. They're not in the top 25, but they should be. Bailey, who do they got next week? Who do we got next? Sorry,
Carolina.
Who do we have next week?
Who do we?
Yeah, who do we have?
South Carolina, man. Come on, dude. Some fan you are.
At South Carolina. Ooh, that's going to be a tough one. But look, at South Carolina, then we go versus
Bailey,
Georgia State.
Can you believe this?
Then we go versus Georgia State versus Utah State. We're going to be at worst 4-1.
4.5.
That's right. So we're going to be 4-1. Be 4-1 at best. And if we beat South Carolina, we'll be 5-0. We're over right there. They played Charleston Southern. That's why I bet it. 3 wins on the schedule. They had to go 2-7 the rest of the way outside of those 3 FCS teams in order to do it. Okay. All right, go ahead.
My big winner, I'll get. Oh, you know what? I had Vandy as a winner. Look at that. I had him on there.
Look at that.
I didn't even realize.
By the way, if you're a Virginia Tech fan, you owe Turner. Turner owes you an apology because he sat on the podcast last week talking about how good Virginia Tech was and how good they were going to be, and they were going to win 9 or 10 games. And then Vanderbilt.
You
said 9 or 10. You said 9 or 10. You said 9 or 10.
I said 8
you said
or 9.
No, you said 9 or 10, and I said 8 and 4. And I said 8 and 4 or 7 and 5. You said 9 or 10.
Well, they look good in the first half.
They lost by 40 points to
Vanderbilt. The team's going to quit. They're going to be like Florida State. They'll quit. Fuentes should be shot. He's horrible. That 0 halftime adjustments. Like, they're winning the game, but, in control, and then all hell broke loose. That is a man that did nothing at halftime. Big winners.
34-0 in the second half.
My big winner is Mississippi State. They go up 17 points.
Yep.
Credit to me, I picked them on this show. They're up 17.
Okay, big dog.
I'm kidding. They're up 17.
No, that's good. I like that.
They're up 17, rolling, roughing the passer. Then Arizona State gets a field goal. You're like, oh, I'm thinking to myself when I see it, I was like, oh, this could end up bad. Next thing you know, it's 17 all. Arizona State keeps getting 4th and 1s. Arizona State gets stuffed down on the goal line on a pretty nice stand by Mississippi State. They have to settle for the points.
That was huge.
Which you do have to take the points there, especially with Mississippi State not doing anything.
Absolutely.
And then they hit the bomb. It was pretty funny to see Brandon Walker, who's a neurotic Mississippi State psycho, just go nuts. I wasn't watching his feed, obviously. Just saw scrolling through Facebook him just losing his mind. I thought he was going to have a stroke. He's like you during the Texas games. But, yeah, that was a big, big win for the program who's been way down. They become the laughing stock of the SEC like Vandy once was.
How disrespectful to us.
But yeah, I mean and then my other winner that I have on there since Vandy's gone is South Florida.
Okay, that's mine too. Yeah,
and that just, I mean, obviously they went in the swamp, won a game. Then you have Florida obviously as the losers. And Florida's a very interesting topic. So let's move into them.
Hold on,
I
want to talk about South Florida for a second here, real quick.
Go ahead.
Because I find this interesting, and I forgot who said this. It was who's the guy who does that college football show everybody likes on YouTube? Josh Pate.
Yeah.
He made this point. He's absolutely right. If you like South Florida's number 18 this week, and everybody's like, oh, South Florida's ranked. If you take the name South Florida and flip it to Alabama, they're probably number 1 in the country right now. Like number 1 or maybe number 2 behind Ohio State. Like legitimately, if Alabama in the first 2 weeks beat Boise State by 20 points and then came back and went into the swamp and beat Florida, you'd be a top 5 team or top 2 team in the country.
Right.
So it is funny how college football works. It's like, well, because you were unranked to start the season and we have no idea what you are.
It does matter where you're ranked. So
it matters. It matters. Now, what will be cool is I think this South Florida team is legit. I said that last week. I thought they were a lock this week to cover 18.5.
I picked them to beat Boise State.
Good for you. Good for you, big dog.
Wait, did I? I can't. No, I didn't pick them to beat Florida. We said it was both going to be close.
No, fuck no. You didn't
we
say
said
we
both said it was going to be really close.
We both said it was going to be a tight game.
Yeah.
I said it was going to be a 23-28 Florida or something. Anyway, South Florida, very good chance. I was looking at it. Very good chance to go to the playoff. If they win their conference, they're very likely going to get it. It's going to come down to likely them and Tulane with the Bayou Jew. But
Bayou Jew, that's such a great nickname.
It's a great nickname. What I think is interesting is with their non-conference, let's say they do beat Miami this week, they actually have a chance in an at-large bid. If they were to somehow lose their conference championship game the way SMU did last year, I think they actually would have a chance. Like if they
would get in.
Yeah, if they beat Florida and Florida, Miami at Miami, and Boise State on a neutral.
Lost one the other game. They would get.
They're going to get in at 11-1 if they just lose their conference championship game.
Correct.
Or 12-1.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be very interesting to watch. They're playing great football. That was a fun game to watch. The defense is really good. I love South Florida. And by the way, they're getting absolutely no respect still. They're 17.5-point dogs against Miami this week. Again, baffling to me. That should be 8 or 9. I mean, it really should.
That's crazy.
It doesn't make any sense to me. I do not get it.
Yeah, especially with just all the momentum and being on that high after this win. That's going to be Miami. Like I said, we talked about this Florida game. I would probably think Miami wins it, but a super close game. Again, that's way too many points.
Okay,
but
go
Florida,
into the bat.
So this is
biggest
Florida,
losers.
Biggest losers. Listen, with Florida, I don't know. This is obviously a bad loss. But like we said, the South Florida team is pretty good. This Florida team is not great. But it's like, what are Florida's expectations? Because I know everybody wants to kill Billy Napier, and it's like he finished the season well last year, and like, okay, now we have to keep him. Now he lost South Florida, now everybody wants to kill him again. But the issue with it is like, okay, look at this schedule after this. At LSU, at Miami, versus Texas, at A&M, Mississippi State, Georgia, Kentucky, Ole Miss, Tennessee, and Florida State. I mean, I don't know if that's the toughest the schedule in the country. It's got to be damn well near.
It was. They had it last year.
And this has got to be like top 5.
Yeah.
So Florida goes 8-4, and you have the lunatics down there calling for Bill. Like, I'm just saying, I'm not saying they will, but if they do go 8-4, I don't care what anybody says and how unrealistic you are. That's a good season for Florida. They're not as good as Georgia. They're not as good as Texas. They're not as good as Ole Miss. They're not as good as Tennessee. And they finish 8-4. And I know, listen, times have changed. You can't have a bunch of murderers on your team and pay people under the table. This isn't Urban Myers, Florida. These schools have more money than you that are spending it in NIL. And you don't have, the second coming of quarterback, Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have Tebow, the disciple leading the convicts. And you don't have that anymore. And I just don't. It's a very, very weird deal. But it's like, I don't think Billy Napier is the best. Everybody loves playing for Billy. Like, the people that are there love playing for him. But if he's 8-4, I mean, if you're a Florida booster, you're stupid if you think you're going 10-2 with the schedule. Your team's not that fucking good.
I think, and I don't, nothing you said do I disagree with, and I think South Florida is actually a really good football team, so I don't think this is that bad of a loss, but it's the difference of, like, yes, what you just said, it's a different era, and in this different era, with the resources that you have and the talent you should be getting versus the team like South Florida, you shouldn't be losing to that type of team.
Correct.
And when you're already somebody who kind of, and whether it's fair or not, if you're already somebody who's kind of on the hot seat, like it's been an up and down type of ride, losing this game is a really bad sign. It's a really bad look for them. Now, again, to your point, if they go 8-4, then, like, again, it's like, what is the goal here? Like, what was the conversation before the season? What's our goal? Like, obviously, we want to compete for an SEC championship, which is still alive.
We want to make a playoff.
We want to make a playoff. But, like, the reality is, like, we went 6-6 last year. Like, 8-4 would be a good year. So, like you said, this is a bad loss for them. It's more of a bad loss for him in terms of, like, the entirety. Like, I think he was fucked in general because they play 9 ranked teams, and 4 of them are top 10 right now. And the other ones are Tennessee, Ole Miss, A&M. Like, those are the bad team, the worst teams on their schedule, right? Like, they don't play anyway. Kentucky and Mississippi State
Mississippi State's much improved, and Kentucky's the only one that you're like, okay, they need to win this game.
And that game's on the road.
Correct. So if Napier loses that game, he will be fired. That's the Kentucky-Florida is a deal. It's like, you have to beat Kentucky. It's a basketball. Like, you don't lose. If he loses to Kentucky this year, he's for sure gone. But it's one of those deals where I just don't. The expectations are just so, like, this is not Urban Myers, Florida.
No, it's not.
No,
and it's not going to be. Nothing's going to change, and they're probably, honestly, looking at this schedule, they probably are going to drop their next 4 games. Like, they're at LSU, at Miami, home against Texas, at Texas A&M. Like, they might go 1-3. Like, that would probably be a positive. Like,
if they go 2-2, it's fantastic. If they go 1-3, that's probably what it should be.
And what's crazy is that's or I guess what I'm saying is that's the problem with losing to South Florida. There is, like, he needed that win to have a shot at like 6-6 or 7-5.
100%. Yeah.
And now he's like, they're probably going to miss a bowl game. So that's, if everybody's like, oh, fire him now, no, that's ridiculous. But in the grand scheme of things, it's like, oh, he's fucked because the schedule is so hard.
No,
they're not going to do what he needs to do to keep his job.
This is one he had to have.
He had to have this one. I'll go to one, and then you go to your next one. I'm going to go to, or actually, sorry, you do your next one, then I'll go.
Well, I went, that was a loser there, but my other two losers, and I'll just give them, quick, is Michigan. Michigan, if you watch
Sharon
that game.
Moore, yeah, that was one of mine.
If you watch that game, and actually Portnoy said this, which is, I never really agree with the sports takes, but he's like, it was like, we weren't playing to win. Like, dude, he goes, I know the score was like 24-17 or whatever it was. He's like, we might as well have lost the game by 150.
Yeah.
There was no chance of us winning that game. It seemed like they were easing Bryce Underwood into stuff, like not even giving him. And he's like, maybe that's just a plan. Maybe Moore's going to be gone. He's like, they just know we don't have the roster this year. We try to beat Ohio State again, and maybe that's the plan. But he goes, He's basically like, we spent this much money on this kid. He's like, I didn't necessarily, I thought we were going to get something, not like throwing him under the bus, but like, thought he was going to get a finished product right out of high school. And the reality is, you go from playing high school football to the SEC, or Big Ten, whatever, you're playing good, you're playing Venables defense. It's not going to be easy.
There's like five kids in the last decade who have come from as a true freshman and been like a star right off the back. Like it just doesn't happen very often, and to expect that is unrealistic.
And I think Underwood is going to be good. He's got a cannon of an arm. I think he's going to be a good player.
Yeah, he shows flashes.
For sure. But yeah, that was my loser. And then the biggest loser of the week, K-State. Really, they should be 0-3.
They should be 0-3.
Lose to Army at home.
17.5
we both
point
said
favorites.
that game that was another absurd line. Like there's been some crazy ones.
Even though I should have gone 4-0, I should have. Kansas should have won, and Ole Miss should have covered. Whether Ole Miss could have gone either way, but at the end, Ole Miss should have covered. That said, I don't know why I didn't throw, instead of Ole Miss, either Army plus 17.5 or South Florida, because I love both of those, and I didn't actually play them. But those are both. That is actually embarrassing. Who did they play last week that they should have lost? Was it North Dakota?
North Dakota, yeah.
And they literally scored in the last 30 seconds to win that game. They are atrocious. You think about 2 years ago, they won, or 3 years ago, they won the Big 12. Right? Upsetting TCU in the championship game. Then they, are pretty good the next year with Will Howard. And then they say, you know what? Screw Will Howard. We're going to go with Avery Johnson, this freshman kid. And it's been a disaster. It's been an absolute unmitigated disaster. He can't throw the ball. He's inaccurate. He's not what anybody thought he was going to be. There's a reason he ended up at K-State. Like, I don't know what they were thinking. They had and I don't think Will Howard is great. I actually dislike Will Howard. He annoys me. But he was way better than what they had. So it's just funny watching this play out, like how stupid they were to let him go at that point. My biggest loser is going to be Clemson. And they did win. They ended up winning by 11, but it was in significant jeopardy for a large portion of that game, playing Troy at home. They were coming off losing to LSU week 1 on the opening week and not scoring. They did not score in the second half, right? It was 10. What was it? 10-3. LSU was down. So it was 10-3 Clemson in the first half. Clemson scored 3 points in the first half against Troy. So for 4 quarters of football, they scored a total of 3 points. It was 16-3 Troy. It was actually 16-0. It was 16-3 Troy at halftime. And then finally Clemson woke up. They scored 17 in the third and 7 in the fourth. And really, if it weren't for turnovers, the quarterback for Troy, Goose Crowder, what a name, by the way, threw 3 picks in the second half. If it weren't for those interceptions, Troy had a very real chance to win this game. It was a horrible performance from Clemson. And look, both of us said this. We were like, okay, we like Clemson. Like they're like, I like Klubnik, like Clemson. Like they were decent last year, but the hype has gotten out of control. Like they were being ranked number 4 in the country preseason was absurd.
Right.
They come out and lose at home to LSU. They go out and barely beat Troy. Like they're number 8 right now. To me, they look like a barely like top 20 team. Like they do not look good. And Klubnik looks atrocious. Dabo Sweeney called him out in the post-game press conference. Basically said like there was multiple plays that he had guys wide open, and he's like, I don't know why he didn't throw it. Like it was a touchdown, and he didn't throw it. Like just kind of shitting on him. Dabo seems frustrated. I just think that whole deal is done with Dabo. I think and I think it's going to come to an end pretty soon because he refuses to adapt to the transfer portal. He likes the idea behind what he wants to do makes sense, which is, look, in an era where there's no loyalty and no development, if we do that, we're going to have guys who play harder and care more. The problem is they just don't regardless, so you just got to play into what the system is. So it's like, okay, we're going to pay you this, and you got to pull on whatever motivation for that specific kid to get him to play hard that year. But you're not going to get it. Like, nobody's doing it for Clemson anymore, right? It's not happening. So his whole system is kind of fucked with this, and he refuses to adapt.
Yep. I had that on my notes, too.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of, I mean, he'll get another, his buyout so much. He'll get another 2 years. I think you'll see him, the university, some booster step at him, like, hey, look, I know this is the way you want to do it. It's like, listen, we've done it this way for 2-3 years. It's not working. So if you don't want to do it, we need to bring someone in. Like, we want you to be the head football coach, but he got to bring someone in to handle all the transfers and whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, just the and anyway, I don't even know how that would work, but yeah, it's not.
No, they need like a general manager.
Yeah, a general manager to do all that. It's not a good situation.
I have one more if you don't.
Got
one
nothing.
More. Okay, my last one, and then I think we're basically done here.
Yeah.
My last biggest loser is going to be the Kansas Jayhawks. Look, they come in 2-0. They're playing in the border war at Missouri, and they go up 21-6. They're absolutely dominating the game. Jalen Daniels looks awesome. They're throwing it all over the field. Defense looks good. They're forcing turnovers, and then they just absolutely mismanage the end of the half. Horrible coaching decisions lead to 15 points basically in the last 5 minutes of the half. It somehow tied 21-all after being 21-6. Kansas regains the lead in the fourth quarter, and with 5 minutes to go, they had an 80% chance to win the game. It was a 3rd and 17. I believe it was on their own 35-yard line roughly for Missouri with under 5 minutes to play, and they picked up 7. And they decided on 4th and 10 to go for it. On 4th and 10 on their own 42-yard line, they went for it. And Kansas let them convert because Kansas let them convert 5 of 6 fourth downs. They got a lot of stops and could not, on key third downs, they couldn't get a stop. And then when they did get a stop on a third down, that was key, they just went for it and got it. And that one capped it. Missouri scores there. Kansas gets the ball back and has essentially a easy first down at midfield as they're driving to go win the game. Their best receiver, drops the ball. They punt it. And then if you're a Kansas backer like me, it was a brutal beat because they had a Jamal Roberts, the running back for Missouri, busted a 63-yard touchdown. And Kansas, who was the right side of the entire game, and it should have been an outright winner, to be honest, ends up losing that game. That's just a terrible. If Kansas wins that game, they're probably ranked in the top 25. They would have been 3-0 with a win over.
They would have for sure been ranked.
With wins over Fresno State, who is now 2-1, and Missouri. They get West Virginia and then Cincinnati and then UCF. They could have gone into that Texas Tech game undefeated at Texas Tech, and it would have been a really big Big 12 matchup. Now, they still have a chance to be solid, and they're going to be okay in the Big 12. But I don't know. I thought that was a big loss for the program, for the trajectory of this team. If they win that game, this team's man, maybe we can get to a playoff.
Right.
In this
and the
day
Big
and
12,
age,
Big 12's wide open.
The Big 12's wide open in this day and age. Why not? And before the season last year, a lot of people thought Kansas had a chance to win the Big 12. And then Jalen Daniels gets hurt. They don't look as good. They're a much better team later in the year. So that was a really crushing loss if you're a Kansas fan.
Yep.
And it was a really crushing beat if you're backing them +7 like I was. All right. Anything else before we wrap the show up?
Nada.
All right. We thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back on Wednesday or Thursday.
Yep.
We might do it virtual, but we'll figure it out.
Figure it out.
We'll be on there with our best bets. Turner's 2-0 last week. Hit his double-digit dog. Our best bets on start the season, I believe, are 7 and 3 to start the season, and then with the double-digit dog hit, and we hit our parlay of the week. It did downgrade because we had the Voodoo Ranger parlay of the week.
Oh yeah,
it did downgrade to a 2-teamer because we had Iowa State -3 and they pushed, but we still hit a 2.5 to 1 parlay. So we've hit 1 out of 2 parlays. We're smoking hot on best bets. So check out the Pick'em Show. We got all of our best bets on there. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel. Comment below. Let us know what your good, bad, and the ugly of the NFL was this week. Who were your biggest winners and losers in college football? And we'll be back next week to recap everything from Week 2 NFL, Week 3 college football. Thanks, guys, and we'll catch you guys next time.